My name is Alex, and I was once a radio DJ at a small, forgotten station in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains. WX7 had been a relic of the past, an old and crumbling building perched on a hill, surrounded by dense forests that seemed to swallow it whole. It was a place where music and voices echoed through the airwaves, reaching the ears of those who dared to tune in. But it was also a place where I encountered something inexplicable, something that defied all rational explanation. My fascination with radio had led me to take on the late-night shift at WX7. The station had seen better days, its once popular shows replaced by syndicated broadcasts and automated playlists. I was alone in that dimly lit studio, surrounded by outdated equipment and shelves of dusty vinyl records. One frigid winter night, as the snow fell outside, I was going about my routine. The station's signal reached only a handful of loyal listeners, and my voice was often met with the silence of the sleeping town. But that night was different. As the clock struck midnight, I noticed a subtle shift in the atmosphere. The air seemed to thicken, and the temperature dropped. A shiver ran down my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I cleared my throat and continued with the broadcast, my voice trembling slightly. The whispers began as faint static in the background, but they grew steadily louder, like a distant, ghostly choir. They were unintelligible, but they seemed to carry a mournful, otherworldly tone. I tried to maintain my composure, but the whispers were relentless, drowning out the music and my own thoughts. I fumbled with the controls, desperately trying to silence them, but nothing worked. It was as if they were emanating from the very airwaves themselves. Then, a voice emerged from the cacophony, a voice that was not my own. It was a woman's voice, soft and sorrowful, speaking in a language I couldn't recognize. The words seemed to sear into my mind, filling me with an overwhelming sense of dread. I tried to disconnect the equipment to cut off the transmission, but my hands wouldn't cooperate. They felt heavy and numb, as if some unseen force held them in place. The voice continued, its tone growing more urgent and desperate. As the minutes passed, I became aware of a presence in the room with me. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel it, a cold, oppressive energy that seemed to encircle me. The whispers and the voice grew louder, drowning out all other sounds. In a panic, I reached for the microphone and pleaded for help, my voice trembling with fear. But the station was deserted, and the nearest town was miles away. I was truly alone in the dark, surrounded by an unknown force. The voice became anguished, its words turning into anguished wails. I felt as if I were being drawn into some malevolent abyss, my very essence unraveling. My vision blurred, and I struggled to remain conscious. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, it stopped. The whispers, the voice, the oppressive presence, all vanished, leaving me gasping for breath, drenched in sweat and disoriented. I stumbled out of the studio, leaving the equipment behind, and never returned to WX7. The station was eventually shut down, deemed a relic of the past, but the experience has haunted me ever since. I have no explanation for what happened that night, no rational way to account for the inexplicable. All I know is that I encountered something beyond the realm of the living, something that reached out to me from the depths of the airwaves, something that defied all reason and left me forever changed. WX7 may be silenced, but the memory of that night will echo in my mind for eternity, a broadcast from the beyond. Don't forget to subscribe